Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans. And what we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We try to do that for your listening pleasure, hopefully to make the world a little bit better place and connect in a good way, and ultimately make a decision that is in a good space. The first thing we look at is kind of how we can be helpful. This is a Life Lessons Series number 291. The Life Lessons Series is just a small reminder of things that life may be trying to teach you that you may be missing because you're moving on so quickly. So please feel free to reach out at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one will get you in motion to contact with me or my team. We can make something happen from there, and ultimately, hopefully, that will be both good for you and good for me, and we can serve each other in the best way possible. The first thing to look at is prioritize yourself. Look, if you're not making time for yourself, if you're not focusing on bettering yourself, improving yourself, seeing yourself in a better light, seeing yourself as a person who's growing, who's advancing, who's expanding, who's doing things in a good way, it's important to realize and recognize that you may not always get to where you want to be. In other words, the idea there is that it's important to begin to see yourself as someone who needs to be a priority, being at your best, doing the best you can, making the difference that you're capable of making, are all things that you should be focused on so that you can begin to understand the value that you bring to the world, but also so that you can begin to be of maximum value to the world around you in a positive, progressive, and meaningful way. Sometimes we don't necessarily do that because we undervalue ourselves, we undervalue the realities that are in front of us, we undervalue the things that ultimately uh, we need to be doing, or whatever have you. But understanding that having the value of what's needed, having the value of what's important, and knowing how to connect on a deeper level with the world around us is an important part of what needs to happen, an important part of what's important for us to achieve. The next thing there is to look at things from the keeping things in motion, keep things moving, do not stagnate, avoid stagnation in every way possible, and begin to know that stagnation is a negative in your life. It's not necessarily negative if you can understand how to break it, but stagnation is a negative in your life if you are constantly in a place where you're not moving forward. Obviously, learning, growing, and taking time for relationships is an important part of living well, but at the same time, knowing how to balance yourself, knowing how to be in balance for yourself, and understanding the potential pitfalls that could come from being out of balance is an important part of living in an intelligent and progressive and perspective sort of way. When we begin to look at life in terms of balance versus non-balance, we then also begin to know the value of what's there and the value of what we're trying to connect with and the value of what we're trying to achieve. So, when we begin to know the importance of doing that, when we begin to know the importance of connecting with people in that manner, it then enhances our overall quality of relationships and knowledge of what it is that we can accomplish, but also what it is that we need to be focused on in order to make things super valuable. So, the next thing to look at least on some level, is the way we look at freedom. Look, we are free to make our own choices at any given moment. Now, just because we don't like the outcome of the choices we make doesn't mean we're not free. But every action has a corresponding reaction, and so sometimes it's necessary to look at the freedom options we have as, do I want to take the risk that could come with this free choice? A lot of times the answer is no, but we're not thinking through in that manner. And so then people say they're not as free as they want to be, or they're not as free as they think they are, or there's a struggle there. And that becomes a challenge in and of itself. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.